One of the things that happens in our diocese over the summer months is that we have a series of services which are particularly related to our church schools in the diocese. At the cathedral there are 4 lunchtime services for children who are in year 6 in our church primary schools, and they gather not just for a service at lunchtime but also a day of activities in the cathedral. And it's a great opportunity with them to celebrate the years they've spent in our church schools and to talk with them and pray with them as they prepare to move on to their secondary schools later in the year. And then we also have another service in the cathedral for heads of schools, senior staff, chairs of governors and those who are engaged with our schools at that level. Our church schools are a really important part of the life of our diocese. Every day of the week, some 25,000 children and young people are part of the life of our church schools. The church has been involved in education for centuries now, and this is part of our continuing contribution. It's also part of our witness and service, and it's an opportunity to work with the children and young people in our care to develop character, particularly Christian character in their lives as they grow up, as they are educated, as they are nurtured, as their lives are, as it were, formed and shaped. And we pray for our church schools that they may be part of this purpose of God in bringing Christian character and life to the children and young people of our communities and indeed of our whole nation. One of the things I really enjoy is visiting our schools, and I rejoice to have the opportunity to do this really very regularly, to see the work that is being done on our behalf in our schools and to hear of some of the experiences of the young people and the children as they share in the life of their schools. I was hearing, for example, the other day about a group which is going from one of our church secondary schools to our linked diocese of Condoa very shortly over this summer. And they will be going there to work with a potential new school which is being built in that diocese to serve the children and young people of the Diocese of Condoa, particularly with vocational education. That's a great partnership. Others of our church schools also have partnerships within our linked dioceses and in other places as well. And that just illustrates that the kind of Christian life which we're modelling for the young people in our church schools is not just around the formal education that they receive, but it's also around their wider engagement with the life of the church, with the mission of the church, and with the life of society more broadly. The life of our church schools and the work of our church schools is often undersold and undertold. And I hope that through reflection on what I'm saying and through reading of the summer edition of Link, which also focuses on this work, you will be enabled to discover more about this and especially to hold it in your prayers, to pray for people to respond to God's call to be teachers in our church schools, to pray for people to respond to God's call to serve as governors, to pray for people to respond to God's call simply to go into their local school and to assist in whatever way. And while we're thinking about our church schools, let's also give thanks for the many opportunities we have to engage with our community schools and with independent schools as well, because it's in all of these areas that the mission of the church is something that's really important and is lively and is continuing.